Guys, we need to talk about what could happen in the draft this year, and honestly, it's not looking great for us at pick 12. Former Cowboys scout Bryan Broaddus joined Trust the Tape to break down the worst-case scenario, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what that looks like and what our options might be. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about America's team. So, Christian Parker is out here making moves already, right? He's firing people, giving them their walking papers, and honestly, I'm all for it. I mean, look, I don't want anyone to lose their job, but if you're a defensive coordinator, you need to be able to bring in your own guys. That's just how it works. He's building something from scratch, and that takes having the right people around you. One of the names that's come up is Marcus Dixon. He used to play here, and from what I'm hearing, this guy is getting glowing reviews. Jesse Holley was talking about him, said he was teammates with him, and he couldn't say enough good things. Like, this is the type of guy you want in your locker room, you know? My sources who've coached with him say he's a really good guy. Smart, easygoing personality, knows how to run a good room. He's got good touch with his players, can build connections, not a yeller or screamer type. They said he's a bit better as a run-fit guy than a pass rush coach, but he's a decent evaluator, he'll work at it, and he's a good recruiter for undrafted guys. Just needs to be pointed in the right direction. And there's also some talk that maybe guys like Marcus Dixon are looking to get out from under Brian Flores in Minnesota. I mean, working with Flores is apparently no picnic. Mike Pettin, who was on the defensive staff up there, kind of brought that up. He was a former head coach, former defensive coordinator working on the Minnesota staff, and he mentioned that working with Brian was really tough. So maybe some of these coaches are trying to escape that environment and get opportunities elsewhere. They're also talking to Shane Bowen, who was the defensive coordinator with the Giants at the end of the year once they made the change. From what I've heard from people with the Giants, he's a good coach, will be a good linebackers coach, but he's just not a dynamic guy when it comes to attacking and scheming things up. Just kind of a down-the-middle guy. Nothing that's really going to move the needle as far as having some really great scheme ideas. So we'll see what happens there. Aaron White-Cotton is heading to the Tennessee Titans to be their defensive line coach. He's going to coach with Robert Saleh. He was coaching the East-West game, and honestly, I was pretty upset about this. There were several players in that game that I was really excited to watch. Guys like Malachi Lawrence from UCF, nice little edge rusher. Caleb Proctor was another guy. I mean, there were several of these guys that had really good practices, and I was pumped to see them play in the game. But a lot of these guys just did the practice stuff, did the interviews, and then they're moving on and not playing in the game. It's frustrating because they put together a really good roster, but that's the world we live in now. But let's get to the real issue here, the draft. Daniel Jeremiah put out a mock draft recently, and let me tell you, it's basically the worst-case scenario for us. In his mock, we're sitting at pick 12, and when I tell you the board fell in the worst possible way, I mean it. This is the nightmare scenario. He wiped us out completely. Here's what happened in his mock. Fernando Mendoza goes number 1. Then you've got Arvell Reese to the Jets. Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle out of Utah, to the Cardinals. Francis Mauigo-Ua, the Miami offensive tackle, to the Titans. Then Mansour Delane goes to the Giants at 5, and this is where you start losing your guys. This is when it starts hurting. Then the first pass rusher, David Bailey, goes to Cleveland at 6. Sonny Styles, my guy, goes at number 7 to Washington. That's the first time we've seen Sonny Styles go that far up the board, and I sure don't appreciate it. Then you've got Jeremiah Love at 8 to the Saints, Ruben Bane Jr. at 9, Jermode McCoy at 10, the Tennessee corner, and then Caleb Downs at right 11, right in front of you. They wiped you out right there. What's left for us? I'd have Jordan Tyson and Mai Lemon as first-round grades at that point. Tyson, Lemon, and I also would have Avion Terrell, and actually, I take that back. Brandon Sissy and Terrell would be on my board too. Daniel Jeremiah goes with Colton Hood at number 12, who's also a corner that I really like. He actually played at Tennessee this year, and that's a guy that if you took him at 20, I'd be like, okay, got a starting corner. That's all right. But at 12, I'm like, this is just a scenario where you're looking to trade down, honestly. And here's the crazy part. No receiver is off the board in this scenario. Not a single wide receiver has been picked by 12. Surely NFL teams have a preference, right? Is there a team that might call for that? You don't have a single wide receiver off the board and you're sitting there at 12. Everybody seems to be loving Carnell Tate from Ohio State. The guys that get picked the most in the first round ahead of Dallas in most mocks are Tate and Tyson. Those are the two guys that seem to go the most, but they're not gone in this scenario here. So with the depth of the position, why would you trade up? That's fair. Now, a lot has to do with what you do with George Pickkins, by the way, because it's in April. Could you make that decision on that day? You've got a tag before the draft, right? Maybe that's a draft day trade. If a wide receiver is the best player on the board, you go, look, we're going to take Mai Lemon, we're going to flip Pickens for picks. What are you going to get for Pickens? Maybe a 2 and a 3? I don't know what it is. More than that, based on the season he just had? The thing you have to think about is, again, the depth of the receiver group. It might not be much. I personally feel like Tyson from Arizona State is George Pickkins. I feel like they're a similar kind of player. So if I was a team and I was thinking about trading for George Pickkins and having to pay him $35 million and I had a chance to draft Tyson, I might just draft him instead. Someone said free agency is critical this season so they can draft the best player available at 12. But what if the best player available at 12 is a tight end? I don't have Kenyon Sadiq in the first round myself. He's my best tight end. So for me, I won't have a tight end be my best player regardless. It'll come down to my board with the Daniel Jeremiah scenario. It would be the 2 wide receivers and then 2 corners. That's all I would have left. Terrell, Hood, Cece, and Sadiq. I do actually like him. He's a good player. My tight end just averaged 7 yards a catch, while every other tight end in football averaged 10. So if you want to give me a guy who can actually run down the field and make a play, I'm down for that. That'd be very Las Vegas Raiders of you to do that, to draft him at 12 just because he runs good. But I think he blocks pretty decent too. No, I like him. I think he's a good player. You gotta leave me Sonny Styles or Ruben Bane Jr. or even Mansour Delane, but I could see it playing this way. I appreciate when a mock looks different than everybody else's. Where he threw your draft off was Giants at 5, Commanders at 7, and the corners off the board in the top 11. And he took no wide receivers, which most mocks don't do. The wipeout scenario could be very real. If the defensive coordinator matters in this draft and Caleb Downs is available at 12, I think he's a snap selection. You've got to determine if you really do want safety. So the coaching staff is settling in, Christian Parker is building things his way, the draft is the question mark. This wipeout scenario makes you think. If it happens, we need luck. We need teams ahead of us to go another direction, and if this becomes reality, we better have a plan ready.